Turning on the instrument. Check the instrument waste container located on the floor. The container is considered full when the waste bottle is at 75% capacity. Note, if the waste container is full or almost full, tell your professor or contact the scientific instrument specialist. Check each solvent bottle's volume, located in the solvent rack on top of the instrument. Bottles should be at least 50% full before starting. If not 50% full, refill the bottles. There are 4 solvent bottles labeled A through D. Note, only use HPLC grade solvents and/or milli-Q water. The wash bottle is always filled with 10% volume by volume methanol in water. Note, the wash solution must be changed every 2 weeks. If the solvents are changed or air is introduced into the solvent lines, purging is required to flush and prime the solvent lines. See the purging portions of the video. Press the power button on the bottom left corner of the instrument. The instrument will turn on and initialize. The instrument has status lights on the bottom of each unit. Green indicates everything is operating normally, red indicates there is an error, yellow indicates the instrument is busy or not ready. Press the power button on the computer. When prompted, click on OK. On the computer desktop, double-click on the Chromeleon 7 icon. The Chromeleon window will open, and the last used section of the software will appear. Purging. The solvent lines need to be purged before using the instrument. Open the pump doors. Turn the purge knob counterclockwise to open. Initially, the knob will move easily. Continue turning until some resistance is felt. Turn the knob about half a turn past the resistance point. Note, careful not to turn the knob too much. This will result in the knob falling out. In Chromeleon, in the Instrument section, click on the Pump tab. Set one of the eluents to 100%. Then click on the gray purge bar to initiate the purge. The Ready Check window will open to warn the operator to check the purge valve. Warning: double check the purge valve has been opened or else damage will occur to the instrument. After double checking the purge valve is open, click on Execute despite the warnings button. The purge status indicator will turn green and change from off to on. Check the solvent lines at the pump to ensure solvent is flowing out of the solvent lines. Note, if no solvent is flowing, tell your professor or the scientific instrument specialist. The purge will automatically complete after a programmed time. Note, if air bubbles are still flowing through the solvent lines at the pump lines, initiate the purge again. Repeat these steps for each eluent. Turn the purge knob clockwise to close the purge valve. Note, do not over-tighten the purge knob. Close the pump doors. Instrument column. Check the column compartment. Open the outer door. Turn both blue knobs counterclockwise and open the inner door. If a column is installed, it will look like the video. If there's no column, a union will connect the capillary lines. In the Chromeleon software, in the Instrument section under the Pump tab, set the desired flow, set the desired solvent proportions, and under the command portion, click on the gray bar. The motor will turn on. Allow the pump to flow for a minute or 2. Under the command portion, click on the green bar. The motor will turn off. To install a column, slide out the column clip. Unscrew the capillary lines. Remove the plugs from the column. Install the column so the flow is going from bottom to top. Ensure the connections are snug but only finger tight. Put the column clip on the top of the column and hang the column in the column compartment. In the Chromeleon software, in the Instrument section under the Pump tab, set the desired flow and under the command portion, click on the gray bar. The motor will turn on. Allow the pump to flow for a few minutes. Check the column for leaks. If there is a leak, the column will begin releasing solvent at either end. If no leaks are noted after a few minutes of flowing solvent, the compartment doors may be closed. Close the inner door and turn both blue knobs clockwise. Close the outer door. After installing a column, allow solvent to flow through the column for 10 to 20 minutes to equilibrate. Changing solvents and flushing solvents. The pump or column or both need to be flushed with the solvents that would be used for a run. Care should be taken not to flush immiscible solvents. Warning: flushing immiscible solvents will damage the instrument. The instrument is left with methanol in the system. To purge miscible solvents in the solvent rack, change the solvent in one of the solvent bottles. Follow the purge procedure to flush out the prior solvent. From here, continue on to the Preparing the Instrument section. To change immiscible solvents in the solvent rack and flush the system, change the solvent in one of the solvent bottles with an intermediate solvent that is miscible with both the starting and final solvent. Follow the purge procedure to flush out the prior solvent. Turn on the pump for 5 to 10 minutes to flush the column and instrument with the intermediate solvent. Change the solvent in the solvent bottle to the final solvent. Follow the purge procedure to flush out the intermediate solvent. Turn on the pump for 5 to 10 minutes to flush the column and instrument with the final solvent. From here, continue to the Preparing the Instrument section. Preparing the instrument. Flush the column for the desired amount of time to replace the solvent in the column, generally 10 minutes or longer. The instrument is left with methanol in the system. Ensure the solvent to be used is miscible with methanol. If the desired solvent is not miscible with methanol, follow the procedure in the Change Solvents and Flushing Solvents portion of the video. In the Chromeleon software, in the Instrument section under the Pump tab, set the desired flow, generally set to 1 milliliter per minute. The flow can be changed while the motor is on. Set the desired solvent proportions. Any proportion of all 4 eluents can be mixed. Under the Command portion, click on the gray bar. The pump will turn on and begin pumping the solvents. Click on the Sampler tab. Set the temperature if desired by clicking on the gray bar. Click on the Column Compartment tab. Set the temperature if desired by clicking on the gray bar. Set to still air or forced air. Click on the UV tab. Under Commands, click on the gray bar to turn on the UV lamp. The instrument will take about a minute to turn on. If the lamp was recently turned off, the software will let the lamp cool for 5 minutes before turning on the lamp. Currently, the instrument does not have visible spectrum capabilities. In the future, when the visible spectrum bulb is installed, there will be an option to turn on the visible spectrum lamp. Click on the FLD tab. Under Commands, click on the Lamp Mode drop-down menu. Generally set the mode to Standard or Long Life. Set the flow cell nominal temperature if desired. Setting up Instrument Method. In Chromeleon, click on Data. Click on Create, and then on Instrument Method. The Instrument Wizard will open to select Instrument. Click Next. The Instrument Wizard window will change to System General Settings. Set the runtime to set the length of experiment. Select the desired detectors, UV and/or FLD for fluorescence. Click on Next. The Instrument Wizard window will change to General Settings for pump. Use solvents to name the types of solvents used in the method. The other settings can be left as is. Click on Next. The Instrument Wizard will change to Flow Gradient for pump. Gradient graph represents a gradient program graphically. NO for setting the number of stages. Time for setting the time a stage of a pump program starts. Flow in milliliters per minute for setting the flow rate of a pump program stage. Percentage A to set the percentage of solvent line A. Percentage B to set the percentage of solvent line B. Percentage C to set the percentage of solvent line C. Percentage D to set the percentage of solvent line D. Equilibration for setting solvent flush before injection. Time for equilibration must be a negative number, such as -10 minutes. Click on Next. The Instrument Wizard window will change to General Settings for Sample Module. Generally set injection mode to normal, wash mode to both. All the other settings can be left as is. Click on Next. The Instrument Wizard will change to Analysis Time Reduction. Generally, this is not needed unless the operator is running hundreds of samples. Click on Next. The Instrument Wizard will change to Method Transfer for Sample Module. Allows the operator to set the volume between where the gradient forms and where the solvent enters the column. Generally, this setting is not needed. Click on Next. The Instrument Wizard window will change to Temperature Controller for Sampler Module. If desired, check the box to activate the setting and set the temperature. Click on Next. The Instrument Wizard window will change to Temperature Settings for Column Compartment. If needed, check the box to activate the settings. Set the temperature. Use the drop-down menu to set thermostatic mode, still air or forced air. Click on Next. The Instrument Wizard window will change to Columns for column compartment. If column information has been input, the operator can select the desired column information. Click on Next. If UV was selected earlier, the Instrument Wizard window will change to Channel Setting for UV. Use Channel Start settings to set the channel parameters. Channel to select how many channels to monitor. Wavelength to set wavelength for each channel. Bandwidth to set bandwidth for each channel. Use Data Collection to set data collection parameters. Generally use the preset settings. Set peak width to expected peak width. 3D field can be left as is. Click on Next. If FLD was selected earlier, the Instrument Wizard window will change to General Settings for FLD. Set the excitation and emission wavelengths. The emission wavelength must be at least 20 nanometers larger than the excitation wavelength. Set lamp mode, generally set to standard or long life. Click on Next. The Instrument Wizard window will change to completion. Input comments and a description. Click on Finish. The Instrument Method Tools window will open. The method parameters can be checked and changed by clicking on the different parameters. The Startup Shutdown section is used for setting Smart Startup, Smart Shutdown, and Smart Standby. If using Smart Startup, set equilibration time, flow, whether to purge, flush duration, sampler temperature, column compartment temperature, whether to turn on the UV lamp, or whether to set the FLD temperature. If using Smart Shutdown, click on Smart Shutdown and set whether to shut down the pump. Additionally, a flow gradient can be set, whether to purge the sampler, whether to wait for the column compartment to reach a certain temperature before setting the final flow rate. The FLD section does nothing. If using the Smart Standby, click on Smart Standby and set the final flow, whether to purge the sampler, whether to wait for the column compartment to reach a certain temperature before setting the final flow rate, whether to turn off the UV detector, and whether to control the temperature of the FLD. Click on the Save icon. The Save window will open, name the method, and click on Save. Close the method window. Setting up a basic quantitative processing method. In Chromeleon, click on Data, click on Create, and then on Processing Method. The Create Processing Method window will open, select Basic Quantitative, and then click on Next. Name Method. Select the save location. A save window will open. Select the desired folder, then click on Open. Click Finish. The Processing Method Tools window will open. The 3 detection parameters shown below will automatically be present. Click here to add new Cobra detection parameters to add more processing parameters. Append Cobra detection parameter window will open. Select the desired parameter name and click on Append. Some parameters will have automatic retention time settings. To remove a detection parameter, right-click on a specific number and select Delete. Use Click here to add a new component if anticipated component list is desired. If component list is not desired, the operator can skip this step. Create New Component window will open, input the name, and click Create. The component table will update. Retention time, input anticipated retention of component peak, window to designate the allowed range centered around the retention time, plus or minus time in minutes. Click on Save. Close the method window. Setting up a run. In Chromeleon, click on Data. Click on Create and then on Sequence. The new Sequence Wizard window will open. Click on Next. The new Sequence Wizard will change to Generate Injection Type. Sample Rack Guide shows locations of samples as shaded circles. The first letter of each position indicates which rack. R for red, Y for yellow, B for blue, and G for green. The second letter of each position indicates which row. Rows A through F, the number of each position indicates which column. Columns 1 through 9. Set the injection parameters. Use number of vials to set the number of samples. Use injections per vial to set the number of replicates. Start position to set position of the first sample, injection volume to set injection volume per sample. Click on Next. The new sequence wizard will change to Specify Method. Select an instrument method by clicking on Browse. Select a processing method by clicking on Browse. Click on Next. The new sequence wizard will change to Comments, Input Comments, and click on Finish. The Save Sequence window will open, name the sequence, and click on Save. Software will return to the Chromeleon window. Type can be modified to designate unknown, standard, blank, etc. Position can be modified to change the position of samples. If changes are made, click on Save. Open the sampler window. Press the Rotate button to access the desired sample rack. Position A1 is located at the top left corner of the rack. Place the samples in the desired rack positions. Return the rack to the sampler. Ensure the rack is oriented so A1 is in the top left corner. Ensure the rack is properly seated. Close the sampler door. In the Chromeleon window, click on the Start drop-down menu. Generally, select Start. Click on Instruments. Click on the Queue tab to see the status of the queue. Click on Options to set the post-run instrument status. In the After Running the Queue drop-down menu, select the desired post status. Click on Close. Click on the Home button to monitor the run. Wait for the run or sequence to end. To change the spectrum scale, right-click in the graph and click on Properties. Change the main signal range and press the Enter key. For UV, a range of 4,000 or below is appropriate. For fluorescence, a range of 40 million or below is appropriate. Close the Properties window. When the run is finished, the data will be in the Data section of Chromeleon. Data Processing Elements. In Chromeleon, click on Data. Find the desired sequence and double-click on the chromatogram. The chromatogram window will open. Click on Contour/3D Plot to activate or deactivate the 3D channel view. Access Processing Tools by clicking on the Processing tab. If there are unwanted peaks, click on the Delete Peak tool. Use the mouse to click on a peak retention time to delete. To zoom on a peak, click and hold on the left mouse button, then while holding the mouse button, drag diagonally to encompass the peak in the zoom box and then release the mouse button. To unzoom, right-click and click on Unzoom. The software will generally split peaks as shown currently in the video. This example in the video will show how to add and split peaks. The peaks are first deleted. To manually select a peak, click on Insert Peak. Click and hold on one side of a peak, then drag the cursor over to the other side of a peak and release. A red line will appear between the 2 points on a peak. The retention time of the peak will appear at the top of the peak, and the chromatogram peak data will update. To split the peaks, click on Split Peak, and then click on the valley between both peaks. A vertical line will drop between both peaks. To add a component, click on Add Component. If a component was added into the processing method, a red bar will appear. Click and hold on the red bar to drag the component indicator over the peak. To shorten or lengthen the component window, click and hold on one edge of the component bar, then adjust the bar as needed. To add another component, click on a blank portion of the spectrum and then click on Add Component. Click and hold on one side of a peak, then drag to the other side of the peak and release. To change the name of the component, right-click on the component bar and then click on Edit. Type in the desired name and press Enter. Click Save. In the Save Modification window, click Save. Exporting data. Right-click on the spectrum and then click on Export Chromatogram. Select the destination of the data and the type of data. Then click on OK. If the data was sent to the clipboard, the data can be pasted into whichever desired software. Reports. Click on Report Designer. Generally, select the default template. A report will be generated. The operator can click on the different tabs to see the available data. Click on Save to save the report. Click on Save. Click on the Chromeleon icon, then click Print. Under Print, Microsoft Print to PDF should be selected. In the Print column, select which portion of the report to print. Click on OK. In the Save window, find the desired folder, name the report, and click on Save. Shutdown. In Chromeleon, in the Instruments section, click on the Q tab. Check the Q is clear. Flush the system with methanol for about 10 to 20 minutes. Warning, do not flush immiscible solvents. Damage will incur to the instrument. If necessary, follow the procedure in the changing the solvents and flushing the solvents portion of this video. When finished flushing the system, click on the Sampler tab, then click on the Cleanup button. Wait for the cleanup to finish. Click on the Pump tab, then under Commands, click on the green bar. The motor will shut off. Click on the UV tab, then under Commands, click on the green bar. The lamp will turn off. If the instrument will be used the next day, the column can be left installed and the instrument can be left on. Note, the fluorescence lamp will be left on if the instrument is not turned off. If the instrument will not be used for more than a day, remove the column and turn off the instrument. Open the column compartment, remove the column, and connect the capillary lines with a union. Ensure the connections are snug, only finger tight. Close the column compartment. When storing the column, insert the column plugs into the column. Close the Chromeleon software, shut down the computer, press the power button on the instrument. The instrument SOP should be located next to the instrument. If assistance is needed, please look in the instrument SOP for the contact information of the scientific instrument specialist.